Hello, everybody. Oh, happy Wednesday. My name is Hollis Citron with I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing, and I am I'm going to try and stop saying I'm so excited because it starts off that way every time, but it's true. So grateful to be in this space with one of my co-authors, my contributors, Darcey Kesner Hawkins. And this space, what's so every time it's just so inspiring to me because you have an idea and then you call people in and you get to meet these beautiful humans. And what this particular book is called Shout It from the Rooftops. And what I say to everybody when I talk to them is like, just imagine you're climbing up that mountain and you get up there and you just have this bullhorn. And what is it that you would just shout to make people's life easier, better? They don't have to spend so much time. It's just all about inspiration. So I want you are going to be inspired as you meet Darcey. And Darcey, welcome to the space.
Thank you so much, Hollis. And I want to say it's a blessing that I came into your energy and then learned more about you and how everything you do and who you are aligns with what I believe in and what I do. And that's the beauty of being spirit-led, is that we shouldn't fight it. We don't always know that we are. But as we continue to heal up, we become more aware of what the messages are. And so that is one of the things that I do, because I call them spiritual 2x4s. And I think I've had more than my fair share because I wasn't listening. And so ego was strong in trying to protect myself from predators. And that is where I'm coming from, where I'm healing from, is the need to hide. So I wouldn't be sexually assaulted again, even though I was an adult and I was more mindful. And so that's where I'm coming from. But listening to spirit now is like, okay, these beautiful people are coming together. And not only with you, but who you attract into the book is, again, like-minded people who share the same idea of sharing their story so they can help other people. And that's just beautiful. So thank you for the opportunity and doing all the hard work for the book.
It's, you know what? It doesn't feel like that. And I want to welcome Christina. Christina,
That's my daughter-in-law. Love her.
welcome to the space. So happy that you're here. It's really all about this connection, right? It's a web. So as we come into each other's worlds, then it's like, ooh, I'm so, like you said, first of all, you said heal up. As you heal up, love that, because that's the goal, right? I mean, because we can stay here in whatever in victim or whatever you want to call it. But then as you make these choices, which don't always feel good and are not always easy.
No.
But they are healing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then as we heal up, we gain tools, healing modalities, which is what I've been doing since my early 20s. I just didn't know what was happening. And so Creator was leading me then. I just didn't understand how Creator was leading me at that point to start my shamanic journey and become a practitioner at around 22. And then it was considered a phase and discouraged because it wasn't part of mainstream society. And so I kind of quashed it. And because I'm intuitive, I've been intuitive all my life. But when you try to express something like that in the early 80s, it was like, and in the circles that I was in, it was like, no, you know, that's just too weird. So you set it aside. So coming together with that is it's really powerful to know the healing modalities that you gain, which is why I do what I do. And I'll share that a little bit later. But then I put them into my healing basket. And I believe that everybody has a healing basket. Some people call it a tool belt. That's a little too masculine for me. But that's me, right? And a healing basket offers a wider opening so more things can go in. And that the craftsmanship of the basket itself, the weaving in of love and relationships, is a powerful vision as well. So what does your healing basket look like? How was it created? Do you honor your ancestors in that creation? Because they're the foundation of your healing basket, whether we accept that or not. They are. And then we have helping spirits, which includes angelic realm, power animals, cosmic guardians, just where your personal beliefs are and what resonates with you at the time. So what resonated with me in my early 20s was just a fraction of who I am today. It was there inside of me, but it wasn't allowed to emerge because of fear of being judged. Huge, huge fear of being judged. So.
I'm just kind of taking in. I want to say hi. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. Valerie, welcome
Valerie.
to the space. Do you know Valerie?
Yes, that is Christina's mother-in-law.
No,
okay. Stepmother. I'm sorry. Sorry, Valerie.
We have a whole family going on here. This is great. I just really love it's such a strong visual, and it just feels so good how you describe this healing basket. The weaving, the openness, this feminine description of, as opposed to a toolkit, a tool belt. It really is. And I just find it so interesting. You were in touch with this in your 20s. So this, and was the shamanic journeying, was that, and I know you said you've always been aware of your intuitiveness. Maybe you didn't have a name for it, but you were aware of it. Mm-hmm. The shamanic aspect of it, did you have a name for that? Like, were you
when
working?
I can't remember. I always falter on his last name. Michael, I want to say it's Harkness, but I may be misspeaking. He was when he introduced his book, when he first published his book and he was more brought it into contemporary or to Western society's awareness, as far as I know, and I could be wrong because, the information coming into me, but he's the one who led the movement of neo-shamanism and how to bring it into Western society's awareness and utilization. And that not coming from an appropriation perspective, but Sandra Ingerman, who is my mentor, I've taken, multiple of her trainings, and she's just phenomenal. She was trained from him and she learned from him, and she started her practice of sharing shamanism in integration with being a mental health therapist. So I knew what it was and I wanted to embrace it because I've always been connected with animals, and what the piece was, and I don't know if you can see it, but here's one of them. So I have been attracted and connected to tigers since my early 20s, and growing up in San Diego, it is, I believe, still the best zoo in the States. That's where I was introduced to tigers, and I started collecting tigers everything. And I have tigers all, and not understanding pulling the tiger energy into my house, into my heart space, and into who I am and what tiger really means from a power animal perspective. So tiger is my first and foremost power animal, because tiger is a healer. And I step into his paws, and he's male for me, step into his paws as I continue to do my work. But pulling all those, statues and tiles and just pictures of tigers, I was building an altar to tiger within my home, and made my home an altar to tiger. An altar is a collection of anything. So everybody has altars in their homes. They just don't call them altars. Right? Mm-hmm. So, and that's the powerful part of knowing the affiliation, the oneness that I have with animals and what they bring to me, and that expansiveness. I didn't have words for it then. I just knew that I had to be there and feel it.
So there's a few things I want to talk to. I do want to say hi to Abigail. Abigail, so glad that you're here. Often what happens is we feel these things, it's intuitive, but then we squash them because we're like, society, everything around us, everybody who's listening, live or replay, you get this, we get squashed, and then we go on to another path and all of that. But what you're talking about, and what I'm really, is like this knowingness. This is when you're like, oh my God, like who can relate to this? Like, why do I why do I have this connection to tigers? Or why is it every time I see the ocean, I feel a certain way, like an extra way, more so than anybody usually does? Why is it when I see cardinals that I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like I can hear them. I feel like I can understand them. There's these aspects of things where it's this greater knowing, this greater awareness. And when you have this healing basket, doesn't it feel so good when you're like, because they're my spirit animal, or and maybe somebody doesn't have the words to really understand that. I guess I'm curious. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's so powerful to have that that knowing, because we
Mhm.
can live such happier lives.
100%. And the reality is that everybody has that knowing. Everybody, not everybody, a large percentage of society, especially Western society, suppresses it because it's not part of the norm.
Yeah.
If you say that you know this, if someone wants to know, how do you know it? Where did you learn it from? And if you can't produce statistics to support that,
Yeah.
then you're invalidated. And so, dependent on how strong you are in your personal belief and standing in your truth, you can be instantly deflated and be made fun of. And it hurts because you internalize that, not realizing that and coming from a shamanic perspective, we have ordinary reality and non-ordinary reality. And non-ordinary reality also goes into multi-dimensions. And so contemporary society is 3D. That's just what it is. It's 3D. And so when our feelings get hurt, we navigate those feelings, as we should, because we are mostly human at this point. But we navigate those feelings, and dependent where we are on our healing journey, we internalize it and we are hurt more and we become more withdrawn, or we act out in socially unacceptable ways, or we adopt behaviors that don't support us and don't honor us. But if we can step out of that and see it for what it is, and step up into non-ordinary reality, the upper dimensions, and see, okay, you're taking that one step up closer to Creator, to God. And many faiths do that through prayer, right? You step up to receive more guidance. You reach out to like-minded people, whoever they are, to help you navigate these feelings. And this is why it's so important to have a tribe of like-minded people around you. But when you step up there, you can see what the action is for what it is that those people aren't ready to hear your truth. And that's okay. There's no judgment, but we own our own happiness and unhappiness. So if this is hurting us, then we set it aside for now until such time as we're strong enough to look at those feelings. And that is through, for me, is through Zen meditation or through an EFT session, dependent on what modality I choose to use. And of course, Spirit has gifted me with many healing modalities to use for my personal healing and navigation of these emotions. So yes, we can absolutely be deflated and not speak our truth anymore. And that is why I'm here, because I lived that way for 4 decades. That's 40 years. And so I want to minimize the time for people who resonate with what I'm sharing, to help them cut that time in half, or more. And that's what I do as a matriarch within my family for the women in my family. And that is my daughter, my daughter-in-law, my granddaughters. My grandsons, for the most part, are not necessarily open enough to share, but they know I'm here for them. So there is more of a verbal communication and a knowing with my granddaughters and my daughter. So it's to help them minimize that time, because what they have in front of them is so powerful that when they have healed what they need to heal on this contemporary scale, then they start dipping into their true gifts and talents. They are going to help heal Mother Earth. And that is the ultimate goal, is to heal Mother Earth from and everybody, every single person on this planet has an impact.
Yes.
Absolutely. Even if what they feel, what they do isn't grandiose, but We don't need everyone to be grandiose in their skill set.
Right.
We need support and love. We need a foundation. And however that looks like, everybody's gifts and talents are special, unique, and needed.
What you're just saying is bringing up a visual. We were just talking about this the other day. So my husband went to directing theater, film, and video for a grad program, and there was a lot of actors and actresses. So when I went to one of the parties and walked into the space, there was so much big energy. Like you were saying, not everybody has to be grandiose. There was so much where it was like the world was everybody's stage in that room, and it was overwhelming. They were just like, so what do you do? I'm like, oh my God. Like, you need to bring down your tone. I like don't have the capacity for that right now. It's just, but it is not everybody has to be grandiose, and everybody has a skill. Even when you think about it, think about the person that maybe you literally met and had like a 2-minute interaction with. 2 minutes, and maybe they just said something. My mom had this happen where after my father passed away, she was in a daze. She went back to work, and she just went to this flea market that she had never been to before, but she loves these kind of spaces. And this person just looked at her and said, "Take care of yourself." And she was like, "What?" And he like looked her in the eyes and said, "Take care of yourself." And she retired. That was like no more than a 5-minute interaction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100%. It's those moments, those aha moments, that is ordinary conversation. And I share about a gal who was walking her dog when my kids were teenagers. And so my ex-husband at the time was military, and he was gone on a military trip. Teenage children, just by definition, basically a single mom working full time, and also going to school. Why I was going to school, I don't know, right? But doing all these things, and frustration and fear as I'm pulling out of my driveway to go to work, and this woman is walking her dog. And apparently she must have been trying to get my attention, because she caught my attention because she looked like she was doing jumping jacks, trying to tell me good morning. And it's just, I burst out laughing. And I don't know who she was to this day, but I hope this energy just blesses her, right? But she changed my outlook that day, and my outlook was not good. And so I busted out laughing, and that just changed my whole entire body, where I was ready to go to work. And because the things that I was facing at work was of a lower vibration as well, right? Because I work in the HR office, and people were getting ready to lose their jobs, and I was the person to deliver the notices, right? And so not a good place to be.
Right.
And because empath, feel the emotion, didn't know I was an empath. And so this lady, bless her heart, I mean, she went out of her comfort zone, I would believe, to do the jumping jacks. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it was the best thing ever. It's just, how wonderful is that?
Yeah.
How wonderful, And it's just, then she shared her joy with me, and I accepted it. One of the few times at that point in my life where I was able to receive something like that. So just, you don't know
No.
who that person's going to be that's going to share that gift from Creator, because that's where it comes from, right?
When we're open to it, when we're open to the receiving, and there's a lot of trust involved in that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Because vulnerability, all of
Yes.
that stuff, well, if I kind of open myself up, and what do you mean I don't have a plan? What do you mean if you're just like, okay, I'm trusting? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And because I'm a giver, most women are givers. There are men who are givers. I can only speak from me in this, incarnation, which goes into my belief of reincarnations and multiple lives. But this incarnation, I am female. And so my experiences are from a female perspective. And I know what I've done during my lifetime, and that is give and give and give. But when someone tries to give to me, it embarrasses me back in the day. I didn't know how to receive it gracefully and understand that they were trying to honor me, right? And so I probably hurt their feelings as I'm trying to navigate my own embarrassment. I had a boss who called me out on it. He goes, because someone said your skirt is really, pretty. I'm going, I said, I bought it and blah, 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 wherever I purchased it from. The word thank you never came out of my mouth. Right. And he pulled me aside. He goes, why do you do that? I'm going, why do I do what? And then he told me, and I didn't have an answer for him. And it took me a while, like years, to figure out what the answer was. And so, yeah, learning how to receive is as important as being able to give.
It's necessary, like to be a happy human, to be a more joyful human. I'm not talking about rainbows and butterflies, everybody. I'm talking about being a happier person, that when you walk down the street, your head is held high. You can have eye contact with people. You can say, hi, how are you today? You're not all pissed off. You're not looking down. You're not in your head thinking all of these thoughts. It's coming more from this heart space and not from this head space.
Absolutely. Get there because they haven't healed to that point yet.
Yeah.
Right. And I was one of those people for a long time. And so over the course of my life, I've developed 3 tenets that I live by. Come from a heart space of love, be kind, and do no harm. And so if everything that I do falls within those tenets, then what I'm doing is good. But that also applies to me. And that was the hard part. Be kind to me.
Yeah.
Reinforce my boundaries, right? Which means sometimes you have to say no to an ask. And that's really hard.
Can be. Yeah. But it's true. It's, oh my God, everybody. It's so much to be talked about. And I want to welcome so many wonderful people here. Thank you so much. And please ask questions, comments, be part of the conversation. We appreciate you taking the time. We know you could be doing anything with your time. So in saying all of this, Darcey, there's so much that you have to offer. Maybe you don't have to tell people exactly, but that shout it, giving it in a simple sentence or two or concept. Tell us what that shout it, because you said yes to this opportunity, which I'm so grateful. And I'd love to hear more about why you said yes, but maybe if you can kind of share with people in a sentence or two what your shout it is. At this point, it can change by the time it actually gets written.
The shout it at this point is to remember that you're your own personal healer 24/7. Stop giving away your power. And that is looking at mostly your health at this point. Because if we don't retain our health in our human form, our divine purposes, which can be more than one, will not come to fruition because we won't be here to do it. So that's pretty much the bottom line. So when I say stop giving away your power, is that not stop going to, Western medical doctors, but to take it with a grain of salt. And my experiences, and granted, I've been here for a while, and I am a baby boomer, so it was ingrained in me that if a doctor tells you to do something, you don't question it, you do it, right? That was good up until about 2009. I had issues with my hips, and I was referred out to a rheumatologist who diagnosed me with having the strep virus within my hips, which now becomes a, what do you call it? It's falls within rheumatology. I can't remember what the word is right now, but it presents anything that is in a rheumatologist diagnosis. It presents bilaterally. So it means it presents on both sides of your body. And while I had pain on both sides of my hips, part of that was because I was more sedentary, sitting around more than I should because it hurt to move. So I didn't move, right?
Right.
So when I started moving and decided that it was time for me to choose a career instead of being reactive to where my now ex was being stationed, I chose to become a massage therapist. And within that choosing, part of the training was about anatomy and physiology. And so the teacher, great guy, love him, came and we started talking about it. He goes, at this point now it's only in my left hip. And he goes, it has to present in both sides. And I'm going, well, it's only presenting in the left side. And so then I went to my doctor and I said, I want to be referred out to another rheumatologist. That rheumatologist said, no, said, that is not what's going on within your hips. You do have fibromyalgia. And I go, okay, fine. That explains body aches and pains. I'm good with that. I can live with that. And at this point, I'm on antibiotics for 3 years out of a 5-year regimen. 3 years of antibiotics that I did not need. So what, and I'm still figuring out what those antibiotics have done to my body, that because I didn't question.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to question. If it doesn't resonate, and we have to be open to understanding what resonates for us. If it doesn't resonate, question. Ask for a second opinion. If you offend your doctor, that doctor wasn't for you to begin with, right? And so, and honoring, yes, they went to school, and I honor their knowledge, but they're human, absolutely human, and we all make mistakes. There's not one person on this planet who has not made a mistake, and that's okay. But we still own our bodies, and it's up to us to take back our power and question what is best for us, what is in alignment for us. So that right now is my shout out. And looking at, and then once we start healing, that healing goes into Mother Earth, and that meets my other purpose. But that is what my shout out is. And the reason why I said yes is because Spirit said yes, which doesn't help you per se.
It does.
So Spirit was showing me through different messaging that it was time for me to write a book, to get to share my information. And I'm going, and I'm digging my heels in because I have published independently before, and I know all the work that goes into it. And so when you came into my awareness and you were showing me what you offered and how you offered it, I'm going, okay, thank you. It was just like, because you, through what you're doing, you offer editing, you offer cover design. These are things that I don't have to get to, I don't have to do, which I had to do the last time. And it almost sucks your soul to a point, especially the editing process. So you do editing, you do cover design, you put it out onto Amazon, you do the marketing in a scientifically method that hits the market for Kindle, for the market in, and correct me if I'm wrong, in brick and mortar stores. And so there is a skill in getting this done that I had to do before. And I recognize what you offer in your program, but you also add the fact that you're bringing in energy of other people who are like-minded, and that you bring us together for conversation. So that's validated for me. And so that I know that the energy of the book itself is going to be even more powerful if I was coming at it from by myself on an individual basis. So being in this multi-author platform and knowing if we publish independently, there is going to be an investment in ourselves. And the question is your story, are you at the point now where you want to invest in your story to put it out on a platform that other people will be able to see and read, that is outside of your area of impact and influence right now?
Yeah.
And that's the key and the beauty behind what you offer in your publishing company, and particularly the theme of this book, which that resonates so much for me.
Thank you for everything that you said. Yes, yes, yeah. I want to acknowledge Kim. Kim said, saying no to an ask has cleared the clutter of energy vampires in my life. Yes, it's empowering, right? So
Mhm.
freaking empowering. And thank you for all that, Darcey. And what I so admire, it does help an incredible amount because it's this idea of connection, whatever anybody wants to call it. It's this idea of connection to listening to higher self, to listening to higher power, to listening to all of these, to God, to whatever universe. It's this connection. It's this being quiet and feeling it in your gut or whatever part of your body that you feel it in, that it resonates, where it's like a hell yes, where it's like it's not even a question. And what is so beautiful to me about these spaces that I get so jazzed about is like, yeah, it takes all that pressure off of you. You don't have to worry about editing, formatting, like Darcey said, editing, formatting, cover design, keywords, categories, posting number one Amazon status, which we get. If that means, if that's important to people, it's going to happen anyway. But it's all included in the package. But it really is, to me, what really lights me up is the networking and the collaboration, because we've mentioned this word a lot in this, is the word connection. You are going to meet more people because they're in our space together, our community space. And then you're going to meet people who are going to introduce you to people who are going to introduce you to people. It's that
Yes.
web out, out, and out, because you've said yes, because you're open, you're trusting, you're allowing vulnerability to come in for them to get to know me. And, when we come back to it, yeah, so many, I can't tell you how many people have said, I thought I was just writing a chapter. Like, that's all I thought was happening. I had no idea that all of this other stuff was going to happen. But on top of all of this, you get to connect with yourself and know yourself on that much of a deeper level, to then have it in a book for it to reach others. And there are going to be people that are going to be like, thank God he or she put this on paper, because it's validating. It blows up my world, and I need to connect with them. Maybe they don't connect directly to you, but you've changed a life.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it, is that as we stay, for me, staying in alignment with the tenets that I believe in and coming from a heart's place of love, I know I'm planting seeds. I know I am. Will it be within my awareness to see it come up into some in fruition? Probably not. But I also know that I'm helping the seeds that have already been planted, the knowing that are in other people, and I'm helping dispel the fear of being judged. And it's okay to come out and to share your light and allow it to grow. And so this opportunity, and I hope that everybody who's listening to this who chooses to invest in themselves with you and the other authors can see what I see. For me, this is a event in and of itself. Writing the chapter, making it impactful, being together with the integration with the other authors in alignment what the theme is, and that by itself is powerful. But it's also, for me, it's the spearhead to my movement of what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And so this is why, instead of just jumping in and getting it done, I'm allowing spirit to fill me with the information that I need to know. That how am I going to word this? And I'm not doing this by myself. All of us have spiritual entourages, whether we acknowledge we have angels, we have power animals, we have spirit guides. Some of them have been with us since birth. And so we're coming and we open ourselves to that input. Our ancestors are there 100%, right? And how do we, with this opportunity, write it in such a way that it's going to impact and be the biggest impact it can be for what it is, to lead what is going to come behind it. And that is because if we have a story, and we all do, and with our story, we're making that cut into, and not to be have a negative impact to that cut, but the cut is cutting into contemporary society and opening up awareness. And it has to be um, surgically done. It has to be such a fine that you don't feel it necessarily. I don't know if you've had that kind of a cut. It's like a paper cut. It's like all of a sudden, wait, I'm bleeding. Where did this come from? Right?
Right, right.
It's like, and so it's that kind of insertion to open up the awareness of, this is me. I identify with this. So if I identify with this, Is there more value behind what this author is saying? And if it's not me, and I'm with multi-authors, clearly I'll be with other authors within the book. Is there somebody else within this book that is going to give me the wisdom and guidance to get me started on my healing journey? Because it's not all about me. It's not all about you. It's about us coming together as a collective, as you were sharing, and that connection of helping other people move on their healing journey and get out of a stuck feeling. And there's so many of us who have been stuck, which is why our stories are so impactful.
My God, I'm so jazzed. I am so jazzed. Darcey, how can people connect with you?
I have no links with me right now, but my
We're
website.
going to put them in.
Okay. My website is my name, which is listed on the screen under my face, and put a .com behind it. And you'll get my story, who I am, what I offer, and also information about the Facebook group that I host, which is called The Healing Basket. And that is online. It's virtual. It is also in person within the community that I live in with right now. So there is healing offered, and then there is physical healing, because I am a massage therapist. I'm also a wellness intuitive. And so as I work with people, either by conversation and delving into that conversation, I just realized how red I'm getting. Spirits just filling me up with energy.
You don't look at it. So, okay. Yeah.
So there's the wellness intuitive is understanding based on story as well as massage, body work, that there's messaging that comes through that is important for the person to know and either accept or not, and integrate with where they're at on their healing journey. So that's where the healing basket is. It's both virtual and physical. And then it's being a spiritualist minister. And so those are the two primary. I have an Instagram account that I kind of throw things to. So I won't lie, I'm not very good with Instagram. Not one of my talents, but Facebook group, and then also my website. So
Phoebe, yes, hello. We are here together. So glad that you are here.
I just met Phoebe, and she's just, her energy, she's just phenomenal.
I'm giving a separate shout out. Her summit is coming up. So everybody, her summit is coming up. You want to catch it. We'll put the links there too for you to be able to catch all of these. I think 27 or 29 speakers. Anyway, talk to her later. So much of what you've said along this way, Darcey, that we've talked about, it's come up the word healing journey. Mm-hmm. And I just am so grateful to have met you. I'm so grateful that you're in the space. We do this together. We are a community. We're not meant to do things alone. Right. Certain things we are, but other things, when we have the chance to come together in community, that is when we do this, because it fills us up. Because again, more connection, it's empowering, it's healing. We give ourselves permission, all of this. So I'm so grateful that you said yes. Cannot wait until your story and everybody's story, till this book comes together and goes out into the world for healing. And if this is resonating with you, or if you are ready to go on your healing journey, then raise a hand, reach out to me, and there are still spaces available. It's your shout it. What are you ready to climb up that mountain, have your bullhorn, and shout it? Like Darcey said, I want to make it that much easier for my kids, for my grandkids, for Mother Earth. This is what we're doing to minimize the struggle, or whatever word you want to call it. We all have stories. We have multiple stories. And if you're not sure what if you're like, Hollis, I have so many stories in here, then just reach out. We'll figure that out. There are different levels. There are 2 levels to come in at. One is a community collaboration and networking space with all of the supports. And then there is a group coaching space where you're like, Hollis, I need the help, I need the guidance. Then that's what you get. And we're starting that the first week of May. So we are here for you. We are just so excited. Thank you so much for everybody who joined us for all of this time. We went a little bit over, but the conversation was just so in the flow. So thank you for joining us live, replay, #replay. And Darcey, again, I can't say thank you enough.
And thank you, Hollis, for listening to your message from Spirit, because if you hadn't, you wouldn't be where you are right now. And you wouldn't be able to offer this valuable opportunity to everybody. And so a little bit, another plug in for me, my program and what I want people to do in addition to taking back their power is to declare, I choose me. I choose me on a health level, spiritual level, mental and emotional level. And that when I choose me, then I can elevate into more expansion with Spirit. And so if everybody is ready to choose themselves, this is the time to invest in yourselves with Hollis, to share your story, because this is the best opportunity. And understand that when you do this, what she's offering is very much a broader, I don't know, a blunter object than a spear, but she is giving you a platform to continue your story. And that if you do invest in yourself, understand that you should, if you're not ready, it's understandable, but you should continue that movement forward, because people need to hear what everybody has to say. So thank you, Hollis, for listening to Spirit and moving forward with what you're doing.
It's that. Thank you. I choose me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready to choose you, this is where we are. So Hollis Citron with I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing, sending so much love your way. You can feel it through this. This is such a lit up conversation. And yeah, any questions, comments, everything, just put it in there, and look forward to connecting soon. I wish you a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Namaste. Blessings.